the channel. It's been a little bit. It's been fairly busy with the Christmas season and with everything going on in our current political climate. Obviously, some of the direction and things that I wanted to review and do on the channel have been sidelined until our government decides on what it's doing, and a lot of the stuff that I featured on the channel before is no longer legally able to be fired outside, or at all for that matter. So I thought today we'd take a look back on some of the rifles that have been in Canadian arsenal and Canadian gun safes for a long time, and something that I learned to shoot on young, have bought and traded quite a bit throughout my life, and also used in the service a little bit, not as an offensive weapon, but we use them for predator control. And of course I'm talking about the Lee Enfield. So I have two models here today. All my mags, I have live rounds on the table. All the magazines are loaded, and so are both rifles. So this is a number 4 Mark 1, and this one is the LE Mark 3. Someone in the comment section is going to tell me that I'm wrong about something and how to pronounce any of this. I honestly don't care. I know how to use the rifle. Don't know a lot of its history. I'm sure there's hundreds of different videos on the history of this rifle, and it's had an illustrious and well-used history, but I know how to shoot them, I know how to clean them, and I like them. So we're going to go through that. This one obviously is a sporterized version. This one I picked up at a gun auction is an unmolested version of the rifle. It does look like it's had some of the furniture replaced. Obviously the top wood stock here does not match the bottom one. I don't think it really takes away from it much. But we will go through a few things today on why I like this rifle, and things that I didn't know when I was originally purchasing them, and the different prices I've paid for them over the years, because it is quite a drastic change. This one, for instance, my sporterized rifle is the first rifle I ever purchased for myself. My father had given me other firearms previous to that, but this is the first one I ever bought with my own money. I think I paid $135 for it off a guy in the village I grew up in, and it came with one magazine. I have got deer with this rifle. I've done a lot of target shooting with this rifle back when ammo wasn't $90 a box, and I really like it. It shoots nice and true. It is a sporterized version. I don't really care that much. It's a nice rifle. It is something I'll probably put a scope on at some point now that I have the unsporterized version. I have owned other sporters over the years. I think I paid $25 or $35 for them at auction. They used to be quite inexpensive to buy. That's also why I have quite a few magazines on the table. I used to buy lots at gun auctions where there'd just be bags of random rifle magazines, and then I would strip them down, see what was in it, sell off what I didn't want. So these will fit the Mark III. Two of these are the Pro Mags. I really like them, by the way. I'll get into that later. Will fit the number 4 Mark I. They are not interchangeable. There are sub models of these two rifles that sometimes these mags won't fit. It is something you need to consider when you're buying a Lee Enfield and maybe looking at mags. They are finicky. Some guys say that mags have to be mated to the rifle. I've found that just the mags will only fit the versions of the rifle that they were meant to fit. There's obviously a lot of different things going on. This one, I think someone has broke at some point, so it's been not modified, but repaired with like a hammer pin and some minor welding. This one looks like it's a newer version of the mag. It's got a different finish on it than the originals. This one has a lot more tines on the back of it, and it has 44 stamped on it. I have found that this mag is not as tight as the other ones. It does fit in the 3, but it has feeding problems the odd time. The original mag that came with number 4 Mark 1, it has feeding problems as well. It's likely the fact that the lips are just bent. They are quite worn on this, and it looks like someone has tried to file them down to correct some of the issue and bend them. That's why I did end up buying the Pro Mags. I like these. I will say the first time I inserted the mag, I kind of pushed it home and it actually blew the bottom off of it. So when you get these, if you go to buy them, make sure that they're seated properly. There are 2 very small lips on either side that this plate sits on top of, and then there's a set plate on the inside. If that's not set properly, even giving it a small smack will detonate the bottom of the mag and you'll dump all your rounds out. The Lee Enfield itself is an excellent all-purpose rifle. Like, it was the main service rifle for, again, you can look this up, but countless militaries for the better part of 100 years. And we even, no, I don't, as of 2019 when I released from the Canadian Armed Forces, we were still using it for predator control. And I really like this rifle. It's robust. I've seen them run over with snowmobiles without much damage to them. It works well in the winter. Now, that being said, and I don't know if it's up here or not, if you're going to fire any weapon in the frigid temperatures, get graphite lubricant. CLP, the little shitty spray can stuff that you get when you buy new guns from most online retailers or anything like that, either it's going to freeze in the temperature that you're operating it at, or after 2 or 3 rounds, it's going to become sluggish. It's going to heat up whatever moisture is on the rifle, and in between firing cycles, it will stop. You're going to strip the rifle of all lubricant and put on graphite lube inside where any parts move and touch each other, and that way your weapon will actually function. Now, cool thing about a bolt action is even if it freezes, as long as you have a round chambered, when you pull the trigger, it should unseat the freezing problem, because you are the mechanical operation of the action. So therefore you're not relying on the gas system to work properly. The only gas that's being expelled is the powder detonating and pushing the round out the end of the chamber. So for adverse fighting conditions, it's awesome to be high speed, but a bolt gun is not going to fail you. Unless, of course, for some reason you've not applied graphite lube, your weapon is frozen shut and not a round is not chambered inside of it. It might be frozen, but you should still be able to manipulate that. Obviously not as nice and easy as that is, but it's not going to fail you the way that a semi will. And that leads me to my next point of why we're looking over these today. Because of all the newest bans in Canada, the things that we can legally shoot as non-restricted rifles, because most of the stuff that was either restricted is now just straight prohibited, or that went from being non-restricted because they were proprietary systems are now just straight to prohib. Not a big fan. I'm not going to get into that. We don't do politics here too much. But a way that you can legally go outside and enjoy the rifles that you have that have maybe been collecting dust in the back of your cabinet because you're using cool high-speed stuff is to go back to your bolt guns. Now, that being said, 303 is maybe not the cartridge you want to go back to, because I was at Cabela's during their sale. I was looking at picking up the Ruger American Ranch in 5.56 because I've got like 3,500 rounds of 5.56 sitting around, which I can no longer legally shoot outside on my property. So I was like, oh, I'll just buy a bolt gun. I missed the sale. And again, if all of this goes away in 60 or 90 days, I'm not going to buy more guns. I have enough bolt guns. I'll just survive with the bolt guns I have. But that being said, 303 British is not the plinking ammo that you're going to go to just to fire off some rounds. So a lot of the SKS guys out there are still having a lot of fun because you've got a Type 81 and SKS or a CZ or something like that, and that's what you got left. You can still shoot your 7.62 by 39. But the Lee Enfield is a fun platform to fire if you can afford to do so, or maybe you still have somewhere in your local area that you can go to buy lots of ammo, not lots of ammo, from an auction or a buyer and sort through. That's where, like, I found today a bag of 303. It's probably 90 rounds in it. Plus, I've got some boxes left over from when it was cheap, plus a bunch of stuff I bought. Now, that being said, the next thing you have to look for when buying 303 is how old is your ammo and is it still fireable? A lot of this stuff is from 1944. This has 1915 stamped on it. I don't know how willing you would want to be to fire this stuff through a rifle that you want to be a good rifle afterwards. Now, I know that if you properly store ammo, there's probably not a lot that can go wrong with it. But that being said, 109-year-old ammo is probably not something I'm going to cycle through a rifle. Even if it is overly expensive, this stuff will, either be destroyed or used for something else. Like, I'll turn them into W rounds, drain the powder out, get rid of the primers, things like that. So do yourself a favor. If you're going to be firing something that has a lot of surplus ammo around, inspect your ammo properly, see the condition that it's in. If you have another rifle that is a parts rifle or something like that, that is still a functional firearm, maybe fire it through that first. Again, I don't know how much I would trust older ammunition. I do have some stuff from 1944 that looks a lot better shape. But again, I bought it at an auction in just little plastic cases, sometimes even Tupperware containers. Who knows what it was stored in before then. We all want to look for our deals with ammunition. That doesn't mean that you should forego your own safety and the safety of the others around you, maybe on the range, just to save a few dollars on rounds. Either turn it into dummy ammunition or just dispose of it properly. It's a lot easier than having a malfunction and potentially losing your eyesight, a finger, hurting someone around you, or getting kicked out of your range. If you don't have your own property to do that, and you're taking a bolt gun to a range, it's just not worth it. That being said, it is nice to go to auctions and buy these for your Lee Enfield if you can, the stripper clips. I have a ton of these. Some of them are in better condition than others. I really need to clean them up. They were cleaned up at one point, but I've just kind of left them because, again, I haven't been using this rifle a lot. But it is a lot of fun to have these so that you're not dropping the box mag off the bottom of them. And then you can simply, after your 5 rounds, open it up, put it in the top. It would obviously stop there because the mag's there. Force it down in, and then when you ride the action forward, it'll fire it off the top. I'm not going to do it in here. I'm inside my house. And especially with this old ammo, if it's ever going to fail, I really don't feel like I'm going to hold through my ceiling and explain that to my wife. So yeah, I fell in love with the Enfield at a young age. I've used it consistently throughout my career with firearms and in the military. It's a fantastic rifle. If you don't already have one in your collection and you want to get one, it's the kind of thing you probably want to pick up in person. There are a lot of pictures of good full woodstock unmolested Lee Enfields out there. I recently had a buddy purchase one off an online retailer only to get the rifle in his possession, and the barrel was basically blown out of it. The wood furnishment had a significant amount of damage and almost like a mold on it. I don't know what was packed on it before. It wasn't like a grease that I've ever seen, but it went green almost, and the action was severely damaged. So if you're going to buy one of these, either do it off a extremely reputable retailer that you trust, or at least has a decent return policy, which I know is hard for firearms, especially in today's market. Or do like I did, go to a local gun show or an auction and get your hands on it. You know, take a peek down the barrel, see what it's like. And if you can find one that was owned by an armory at one point, or has been inspected recently, like this one was laser cut on the side of it with a rack number, so I believe it came from pre the Canadian Armed Forces getting rid of it in their reserve units, so I'm pretty sure that's where this one came from. The barrel's in decent shape, it still shoots nice and true, the sights are in good shape. There's a small amount of damage to the outer wood on it. Obviously, several sections of it have been replaced over time, but that's about as good as you're going to get unless you're really handy with this stuff. And like I know there's some really good reputable retailers out west that sell the wood furnishing to replace on top. I have heard of people undoing the sporterization. I have no idea what that entails. I don't know how you go about it. I'm not a gunsmith, and I'm not particularly good at doing any of that stuff. I'd usually just pay someone to do it, or if I have a buddy that's really good at doing it, doing any of the tooling that I need done, because I'll be honest, I'm not good at that stuff. But if you have any questions about Lee Enfield, how it works for the limited scope that I have on it, and things that I've found that work well, I can go over a little bit more in depth, but I thought I'd throw something up on the channel today, kind of get back out there, because it's been a bit of a hiatus since the gun bans and Christmas season going on. So yeah, if you have any questions or if there's anything else you'd like to see, I promise I will get around to the night vision video as soon as I get a chance to. It's just, I haven't really found a setting that I want to do it in yet. And I have upgraded a bit of my kit recently, so I'll probably do a video on that, maybe even right after this and release two at once. Not 100% sure, but anyway, stay safe out there. Hope everybody had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year, and yeah, stay tuned. Thanks.